For more on this, we're joined by Dalia Fahmy in New York. She's an assistant professor of political science at Long Island University. Good to have you with us. What does this verdict say about the mindset of the Egyptian judiciary and, if one accepts that the process has politicized the government?
Well, it actually says two things. If we look at the first one, which is really an attack on freedom of expression, if we look just in the past month of May, there have been 32 freedom of the press violations that have been tried, 48 trials, 6 of them military trials. There have been 51 death sentences issued just in the month of May. There have been 12 violations against human rights activists. The journalist syndicate was raided when 2,000 journalists protested outside. There are 78 journalists in prison today. Now, this really indicates that Egypt's attacking press freedoms. What it means about this judiciary, and even if the appeals process goes forward, the chief prosecutor, the head of the Court of Cassation, and the head of the appeals court are all political appointees. So the judiciary is not in any way independent. This is a very politicized establishment or institution that does not check the balance of power of the executive. Rather, it's a rubber stamp to the executive. Now, there's also another layer of this besides the squashing of freedom of expression in the press, which is really a war on politics and political engagement. The famous dictum of this is politics is war by any other means is we had been seeing for the first couple of years since 2013 that this was a war on the Muslim Brotherhood, which was what was couched in against Islamism. Today, it's a war on not just that, but also on any expression political that goes outside of the establishment. And so you see an increase in leftists and secularists that are coming into the prison population along with the Islamists. So what we're seeing is that this war on freedom of expression, on really on political engagement, is two-front. It's on politics and political parties and civilian population, and again on independent journalists and the press.
I mean, it's an astonishing record that you listed there of sentences. Why are we not seeing more of an international outcry?
Well, the international community and places like the United States especially are still continuing to look at places like in the Middle East like Egypt as well. Democracy and stability equal authoritarian control are two sides of the same coin. So let us accept the stability the supposed stability that comes with authoritarianism rather than the mess of the experiment of democracy. And this is not just a misnomer, this is leading to greater instability. What we saw in January of 2011 was people coming into the squares all over the Levant asking for freedom of expression, democracy, good governance, and transparency. And it was at that moment that we were saying that the terror narrative had died because change came from where? From the power of the people. Now, when the democratic experiment is seemingly failing because of the level of repression, what the signal is that, well, then violence is the answer. And this is the narrative that Daesh is using against those that are still calling for nonviolence and political engagement.
Dalia Fahmy, very good to speak to you. Thanks for joining us there from New York.